What do you say we get started on character number 3 this week? There's a 25% chance that this is a Volo's character. We're going to begin the rolling with a percentile. You're drinking rum. Ooh, what spiced? What kind of rum are you going for? Some Captain Morgan private stock plunder loot. 18. We do in fact have a Volo's character. Okay, male or female? We're going to determine that with a percentile roll. 41 is female. Now, there are 13 Volo's races. Let's find out which one we have. Oh, wouldn't that be something if this is a Yuan-Ti? That's on a 13, by the way. Number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, a straight up orc. Female orc with an alignment of 2 percentiles. Let's find out. Pardon me. At 67 and 9, this is going to be neutral, lawful neutral. Let's see. Orcs are medium creatures. We'll fill that in. And her level will be 1d100. Let's see. 12 lands us in level... oh, you know what? I think I'm still using the one version prior. That's fine, though. Level 4 is fine for what we're doing. Not enough DACA to get the K. Yeah, yeah. It's not an. It's an orc, not an orc. You got to get that kind of. You're almost exhaling with it. The volume is better, but you're having... pardon, that was a hiccup. You're having a hard time hearing. Let's see. So I can do a couple things, maybe. I'm going to adjust some volumes, so hang on here. Background is up. I'm moving desktop to medium, and I'm going to move microphone up more. So hopefully it'll pick up my voice a little bit better. So tell me if that's any better for you, Torchic. And for any of you out there. Hey, GM Vault, hola to you as well. Dark Wolf, you meant to take a picture. One of the players brought a grid for me to draw the dungeon map on. Oh, yeah, hey. That's excellent, Dark Wolf. You know how many minis, so you're using your fairy glass for... Yeah, that's fine. You know, you can improvise that kind of stuff easily. It is better now? Okay, thank you. Yeah, if any of you do have any... Like, if there's a visual thing or an audio thing, please let me know. I'm presenting, and I have little bars that I can watch on my display up here. But the bars don't mean as much as what you're getting on your end. Oh, it's actually a speaker issue on your end, Torchic? Okay, where were we? Oh, yes, our level is 4. Let's find out if she's going to take a feat or take the stat bump. 65 is just a little bit shy there of a feat, so she's going to take the stats. Now we're going to roll this 13-sided die again and figure out what her background is. 1, she is an Acolyte. Acolytes, don't have any special origin like our criminal did last night. So we're going to roll 2d8 and give her 2 personality traits. That's going to be a 4 and a 2. Now we're going to roll 3d6, 5, 3, 1 for the ideal, the bond, and the flaw of the character. Very good. Now for her class. Bubonic one. Oh, hey, you're here just in time. What kind of a what class is she going to have? Is she going to be like a nice bread and butter fighter? Let's find out. Yeah, yeah. Last week was all like 13 to 16. This is a pretty low level one. Bubonic one is saying no bard. So we don't want a 12 on this D12 or a 2. We don't want a 2 on this D12. One way to find out what it'll be, right? And it's a bard. It seems so, Dark Wolf. I'm sorry, Bubonic one. I mean, I'd say what are the odds, but it's 1 in 12. Oh my gosh. Bards odds or evens for the odds. So we're going for a College of Lore bard. Bubonic one, arg, beats his head on the wall. That's right, we can't go a week without a bard. Come on, Bubonic, we have a tradition to uphold. Oh, you don't like Valor bards even? And I'll end up replacing this out. I got to use the other modified one, but we still rolled low enough to be in the level 4 range. Let's go to the... Oh, actually, for height and weight, we're not going to need this. But I do, before I minimize that, I do want to get the age range with a percentile roll. 23, she's going to be a young adult orc. All right. So we have here... Dun-da-da-da, ooh. Dun-da-da-da. What we need for our young adult female orc. So young adult starts at 12. It's probably going to be like 12 to 20, honestly, because look, they're venerable around 50. They're not exactly the longest live race, even if they're not dying in war or conflict. So let's take a let's take 1d8. Okay, so she is 12. Oh, Caratus, we all agree with you. You got to make the proper the holy symbol of the carrot, right? We all point upwards in agreement. Valor Bard is a poor man's rogue. You know, I shouldn't think of rogues as not being, combat-y, but I see, for some reason, a Valor Bard just seems more combat-y than a rogue is. Maybe more directly combative. Valor Bard is a rogue plus buff, says Torchic. Alright, so she's going to start at 5'4", and we're going to add 2d10 inches to her. Or, this is something I was thinking about as well. If we roll a child prodigy or even a young adult, about cutting the height dice down a little bit. I don't know if that would make sense or if you all agree with that. We'll do this one kind of vanilla style, and look, if she's been eating her veggies, then she's been eating her veggies. She has a lovely green glow about her. But, as we do more content and whatnot, it has been interesting that we've been getting, we'll have like a 13-year-old child prodigy wizard or something who's like 6'6" and, weighs 200-some pounds or something. So maybe limiting the height dice if it's a child prodigy and or a young adult. Or just doing something like, I don't know, a minimum of 1, or just things to throw around. Yeah, child prodigy should definitely be limited. And then, young adult, maybe. But these are things we can fine-tune in the future. So orcs start at 5'4". We're going to add 2d10 inches to her. So she's going to be 6'4". Now, you could say, well, look, orcs, they're going to age more quickly. They're going to mature more quickly. She is a young adult. You know, look, you're venerable at 50 years old. That means you might have D6 years left of natural life in you. Ooh, pardon me. Had a nice SodaStream root beer. We're going to take that same 12, and we are going to multiply it by 2d6 for her weight. So for 4, we're going to add 48 pounds to 175. So that's going to be 183, 223. There we go. Now we will not need this anymore. Well, I don't think I don't think it's when it starts. I think it's when they're finishing growing. And you don't stop growing. I wasn't 6'1" at 11 years old. Yeah, right, Tel, I agree. It's to give you a basis. I think it presumes that you're going to be a character that is of age, or, you know, an adult, or, you know, middle-aged or something. Or if you want to play the old wizard, or, you know, like the old woman druid who's been in the woods all her life or something like that. You know, and in that case, you could make an argument that you actually kind of shrink on the elderly side as well, right? You lose bone mass when you age. Yeah, so we could probably just put it at one number and just call it like 17 or 18 or something like that, bubonic. Something to think about. Okay, we're going to go to her background first as an acolyte. And conveniently for us, it is the very first one. Oh, there we go. We are going to gain a skill proficiency in insight and in religion. We are also going to be given 2 languages of our choice, so that means we're going to get Common, Orcish, and 2 others. We will be given a holy symbol. So she must have been in the choir or something, I guess, right? Or she played the organ. A prayer book. Five sticks of incense. We have some vestments, which are your holy clothes. You probably don't want to go around town in them and get them all dirty and torn. Unless that's what your faith does. Common clothes. And a belt pouch. Everyone kind of pass the plate around, and you have 15 gold. Yep, Lorebard, she's going to have a lot of skills. Depends on the race, really. An elven child could be decades older than a human young adult. And you know, Dorgrim, I believe it even says in the PHB that Dragonborn physically mature at age 2. Like, they're like adult-sized by age 2. They just go through 2 years of rapid physical growth. So there could be racial tweaks here and there if we want to make it more realistic. I know we always are like, I want realism on my games, but we're playing a Final Fantasy. We're playing a fantasy system. We will receive Shelter of the Faithful as our background feature, meaning that this character and her friends, as long as they're, you know, good guys and she performs some services for the faith, they might be able to be given some room and board, maybe information, or things along those lines. Now for her personality traits. We have a full-out orc here. Actually, hang on a second. If I'm not mistaken, at least for orcs. Don't orcs have their own personality traits? Giants, gnolls, goblinoids, hags, orcs. Because there is all kinds of fluff in here. Yeah, there's personality. Now, the point, though, is, and as Bubonic once said, a truly civilized orc is surprising. If she is working on behalf of the Empire of Shadowhar, if she is an acolyte in a faith and she has been given schooling in this bardic college, is she going to have orc personality traits, or is she going to have acolyte personality traits? Right, because they have personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. You know, and we have any evil, chaotic. So we can see where they tend to go. Now, we've never really put full stock in an ideal being, you know, it has to match your alignment with what we do. It's a part of the personality. It's a part of the expression. Pardon me. Because we're making a PC here and we're not opening it up to be completely, you know, like wild in this case, this is a good consideration if you're making a Volos race. You want to choose one from Orc and one from Acolyte? Oh, okay, to kind of blend, because so she's still fighting maybe a little bit of her nature with the conflicts of her nurture. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll just roll a d6, and odds is orcs, and evens is imperial. For the first one, and then the other one, I'm sorry, so it should be like OOEI, and then the other one is going to be the opposite here. So let's roll a d6, and I'll roll a d4 and find out. Ready? That's a good idea. That's a very good idea, actually. Odds. So her first, this number 4 is going to be her orc. Number 4, her orcish personality traits. I love a good brawl. And you know what? This seems to fit because if you remember our acolytes from last week, from the more, you know, monstrous side of things, we apparently there's some sort of god of sports or strength or arena combat, gladiatorial stuff. And so number 2, this is going to be from we have an orc and an Aco. Acolyte was number 2. And come back over here. I can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them, and always working towards peace. Hey! So, you know, she loves this brawl, but she can understand being a being of two worlds. Not even a half-orc. You know, she was born amongst orcs, but she was taken in by the Empire, given an education, and is now, you know, some sort of a choir master, or, you know, she's in the faith in a musical capacity. And then an ideal or a bond or a flaw. So sure, let's go. Odds is orcs, and we'll roll for each of these. Evens is empire, right? Odds is orcs, evens is empire. 5e has fluff for civilized orcs in the half-orc race description, so it's not really that rare. Violence should be saved for sport, not war, says Rytel. Alright, so we're going to roll 3d4 and find out what we get. 1, 1, and 1. So, orc, whoops. Orc, orc, and orc. What are the odds? It's kind of interesting that we did get 3 1s, though. Alright, let's head back over to Volo's here. Her ideal is 5. Glory. The goals of the tribe don't concern me. Personal glory is what I crave. Her bond is number 3. I carry the teeth of a great warrior. They inspire me to commit great deeds in battle. And lastly, her flaw is 1. I have a calm temperament and let insults roll off my back. But you're like, wait, how's it a flaw? This is an orc flaw. Her flaw actually is probably what has helped her fit in more with her imperial adopters. Dark Wolf is just shrugging. By the way, are you no longer an injured Sadawu, Dark Wolf? Have you been able to kind of lick your wounds a little bit from last night? All right, let's head back over here. Actually, no. Let's go back over here because now that we've done our background, orcs. Orcs are going to be has statted out right down here. There's goblins, bugbears, kobolds, oh my, and orc traits. You are a better AWU. I'm glad. I'm glad, Dark Wolf. Bubonic, hey, what Rytel said sounds like a good thing. It kind of fits. Yeah, so that could be a consideration or like a personal motto or something that that you save, that you would bring into the RP session, and you put that in front of you, or that's a tenet of the faith that we've kind of inadvertently created here. Your strength score increases by 2, and your con score increases by 1. We already have our age. We already have our alignment and our size. Speed is 30 feet, giving us 15 climb and 15 swim. We do get 60 feet of dark vision. We are aggressive. As a bonus action, you could move up to your speed toward an enemy of your choice that you can see or hear. You must end this move closer to the enemy than you started. You are also menacing. You are trained in the intimidation skill. Okay. Powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. And we can speak, read, and write Common and Orc. There we go. Yeah, we might have a very specialized bard. This is going to be interesting. Now that we've finished the racial modifications, now let's go back to the player's handbook to go to chapter 3 and check out what bards get. They are a D8 hit die class. She is 4th level, so she has 48 hit dice. Hey, there you go, Dark Wolf. She is going to get light armor training. Weapons, simple, hand crossbows, long, short swords, and rapiers. She will get to learn 3 musical instruments. Our saving throw proficiencies are going to be dexterity and charisma. There we go. And we will get to choose any 3 skills for proficiency. So we're just going to put something here, 3x skills. You do have a loyal Awu Knight, and I guess you need one. I don't know. I haven't seen Tycho around in a little bit. Have you, Dark Wolf? Deathcount stumbles in and sits near the back quietly. So we can imagine which 3 she'd take. Well, I don't know. We could probably do that right now. She loves a good brawl. She can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them and looking towards peace. That would almost be, well, we have insight. Persuasion, perhaps? Glory. The goals of the tribe don't concern me. Personal glory is what I crave. So maybe even performance. I carry the teeth of a great warrior. They inspire me to commit great deeds in battle. I have a calm temperament and let insults roll off my back. So maybe something like... So maybe something like performance, persuasion, and... maybe even history? History could work, right? If you can find common ground between enemies, maybe you know the history of the conflict between them. So if you all think differently, please let me know. Otherwise, for the 3 skills, I'm going to put history, performance, and persuasion. It is a big ol' woo. If she likes a good brawl, I'm thinking she might be... She can get a rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon. Diplomat's pack or an entertainer's pack. She'd probably take a diplomat's given her demeanor. An instrument of some kind. Leather armor. And a dagger. So now the question is she going to be a... Is she going to be a strength bard or a dex bard? Looks like Bubonic is arguing to go strength bard. And you know what? While we are building a bard, remember, not all bards have to have maximum charisma for what they do or who they are. So Bubonic wants to put a 14, 10s, 15, 13, 8, 12, Stat increase in charisma. She seems strong but not quick, intelligent but not wise, and somewhat charismatic. Well, so not wise with the exception of insight, but that's fine. That's why you can have a dump stat and still want to take a proficiency or have a proficiency in a skill regarding it, because you may not be generally a wise person, quote unquote, but you can still be insightful, because that's like the one thing you're good at. So bubonic, we're going to put bubonic's proposed 14, 10, 15, 13, 8, and 12. And her spells can buff herself and her allies instead of debuff. Yeah, and that's why you can... In 5th edition, it's nice because you can be a spellcaster with a low to mid-grade primary spellcasting score, because there are some spells that just provide a static effect. You don't have to be like the super-de-duper-de best person for it. In that case, we're probably going to be giving her a longsword. Alright, if we do this, her strength goes to 16. Her con goes to 16. She is a swole bard. And at level 4, we're going to put the 2 points into charisma to bring that to 14. Therefore, she has a 2, 1, 3, 3, 0, and a minus 12. Oh, my. Always with a disadvantage. You and King Von Alle. He keeps getting it. Oh, boy. Does he keep getting it. Now that we have this, we can fill in some of the dots here. Right? Our strength saving throw and athletics are going to be 3 because that's what it is. Now, our saving throw is... we're level 4, so that's still 2. Our dex saving throw is going to be 2 instead of 0 because we are proficient in it. Then 0 acrobatics, sleight of hand, and stealth. Con saving throws 3. 1, 1, 1, and 1. For our 2 proficiencies, it'll be 3 and 3. It's going to be a positive 1 for insight. Everything else I'm going to copy and paste the negative 1 into. And charisma is where she shines. So this is going to be 2, and then 4, 4, 4, and 4. We are going to get Jack of all trades, and I'll go back and do that when we get to that point. Longsword, because we're using strength, this is going to be a +5. Dagger is going to be the same because you can use, you normally do use strength with dagger. However, because it is a finesse weapon, you can instead take dex for it if you wish. We will not do that. 1d8 plus strength bonus in slashing damage. And this is a 1d10 versatile. So if she wields it in both hands, she can actually swing a 1d10 instead of a 1d8. This is slashing. A dagger is piercing for 1d4 plus 3. And it does have a limited range as well. Hit points we can figure out at level 1. You get your full 8 for being a d8. Every level past that, you get half plus 1, which is 5. So that's going to be 5 times 3, because she's total level of 4. And every single level, so for all 4 levels, you're going to get 3 extra hit points because of your con. So we have a 15 here, and a 12 here. So 27, she has 35 hit points as a level 4 bard. That's pretty good. Bloody Torchic goes into the forest. The wolves again. So sorry, Dark Wolves. And she goes, "My woos." My woos. Your initiative is a dex check, so that's going to be a 0 for now. We're going to get to that with, in this case, Jill of all trades. And armor class is, well, leather starts you at 11 plus your dex mod, so 11. Passive perception is 10 plus your perception modifier. In this case, that's -1. So this is what we're getting right now before we add any other abilities. Congratulations, she has earned a name and is not just a stat block. Yep, that is correct, Dorgrim / Bubonic. And that's why this is going to get modified once we get to that particular ability. Alright, so 4 levels. This is what we're looking at here. We're going to know 3 cantrips. But by the way, our college is going to give us another one, so we'll just go... We'll be a little cheaty face here and put that there. But for sure, we're going to get a 1, a 2, a 3. A 3. We'll know 7 spells, and we have slots of 4 and 3. Attack is going to be Charisma plus Proficiency because we are proficient at casting spells. Therefore, the attack is going to be a +4. We add 8 to that to make the save DC, and so a monster or someone's going to need a 12 or better in order to overcome the effect of her spells. If she's if she's applying any to you. We are going to have Bartok Inspiration. That is going to be equal to the number of our Charisma modifier. And at this level, they are a D6. There we go. We are going to now get Jill of all trades. You add half your proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. Now, as you were talking about, initiative is an ability check. Therefore, we can add half of our proficiency bonus rounded down, so our initiative is actually a +1 despite us having a +0 dex. That means athletics goes to a 4 because we're not proficient. Acrobatics 1, sleight of hand 1, stealth 1. It does not apply to the saving throw, even if you're not proficient in it. Arcana goes to a 2, Investigation goes to a 2, and Nature goes to a 2. Our Wisdom saving throw is still -1, but our Animal Handling, 0, Medicine, 0, Perception, 0, Survival, 0. And our Deception will go up to a 3. Bubonic just crunches the Tootsie Pops. Speaking of non-lethal force, the party did some of that today. Oh, they only chose to knock people out and not Mordor them. We're going to get Song of Rest, which is additional healing during downtime. Which, if you don't run a campaign with a lot of battle, this can fall by the wayside. Not that that makes bards useless. But as a heads up. Song of Rest plus 1d6. Very good. We will choose our Bardic College. We'll get there. We are going to get Expertise in 2 skills. And there's our ASI. Okay, so we have History, Religion. Well, actually, but even before we take Expertise, we're going to get more skill proficiencies. So consider that. We're gonna give her Expertise in 2 skills. Though College of Lore here is going to give us 3 more skill proficiencies. And we're going to get cutting words. So I can even just call this like BI/CW for cutting words. So we're going to get 3 more, huh? 3. She loves a good brawl. She can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them and always working towards peace. The goals of the tribe don't concern me. Personal glory is what I crave. I carry the teeth of a great warrior. They inspire me to commit great deeds in battle. And I have a calm temperament and let insults roll off my back. If she likes a good brawl, maybe athletics? If she wants to investigate the differences between tribes, so maybe athletics, investigation, and even boy, I don't know if medicine would really be her thing, unless for some reason you count psychology as a medicine role. Right? So, unless that's going to be up to your DM. So, medicine could just be fixing boo-boos, you know, when you scrape your knee. But maybe medicine could be an application of psychology as well. And if that's the case, then, you know, maybe we go medicine. Or we go perception. But I think investigation, athletics, and something else. Oh, geez. Yeah, well, there's a lot of wolf activity going on. Yes, in 5e, the attacker can knock out something with a melee attack that drops. I don't even think it's just a melee attack, Dorgrim. I think any attack can be declared to be a knockout. Bubonic One asks, I'm sorry. I got a question. I asked my local game store guy who's been playing for a long time, can spells deal non-lethal damage? I believe that they can. I even think that you can find that referenced here. I've allowed it because I've said something like, well, let's say you cast Fireball, but you want non-lethal damage. Then what you just do is you cast it in such a way that the concussive force knocks people out after you've kind of winded them already. But if we go over here to combat. Let me see if I can make sure. Sometimes an attacker wants to incapacitate a foe rather than deal a killing blow. When an attacker reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack, the attacker can knock the creature out. The attacker can make this choice instead of the instant the damage is dealt. So, okay, this is saying that only a melee can do it. So, I house rolled that you can still throw a fireball or something, or if you're throwing a lightning bolt and you just want it to stun someone, then you can do that. But yes, by the book, there could be a variant rule in the DMG or something. But yes, knocking a creature out does say a melee attack specifically. But there are ways you can conceptualize having an arrow just knock someone out, or a spell, something like that. Yep, Dorgrim. If the player can be creative about it, I say, look, you want to knock someone out with a lightning bolt? Tell me how you want to do it. Or you want to knock someone out with vampiric touch? Tell me how you want to do it. Well, yeah, you could change the damage type, but if you're casting Toll the Dead, something like that, can you just describe it without even having to change the effects? How would you use Toll of the Dead to make a knockout blow? And we're 4th level. Oh, I'm sorry. We still needed to add our 3 skills. That was investigation, athletics. So this is going to go up to 5. Investigation is going to go up to 3. And maybe we'll do medicine. This will go up to 1. And then we'll give her expertise in 2 different skills. Perhaps we'll give her expertise in persuasion. So this is actually going to go up to 6. And probably investigation. No, you know what? Maybe, I think insight would be better. So she's actually going to go up to a 3 insight, despite her wisdom. She's very insightful, though she may not be too perceptive. That is going to go to a 10. Here's the placeholders for our 3 cantrips. And she is going to get 7 spells known. So we scroll down here. This is Cha based. 12 and plus 4. Bartok Inspiration / Cutting Words. We are going to get 2 and 0. Cantrips, we are going to get a COL right here. And then a 1, a 2, a 3. And this is where Bubonic One crunches into his Tootsie Pop. And we had a 4 and a 3 for our spell slots. Level 1, and we're going to just carry this down. Because we know 4 spells at first level. And then we're going to get 1 more at level 2. Then level 3 and level 4. There we go. And we can take a look and see what cantrips are available. We have a little bit of time. This has been a pretty efficient character build that we've done tonight. So we can take a little bit of time and get into spells. Given her personality, right, of glory, of finding common ground, I almost want to say something like friends, message, and Vicious Mockery. Because sometimes you do need to taunt your enemies. Well, not finally. We did make that that College of Valor Bard who was Sword and Board. She had a charisma of 10. Ooh, boy. Hey, Technotron. Yeah. So we're working on a non-standard bard, you could say, right? We have a female orc, like a straight up out of Volos here. And she's a peace negotiator despite that. Well, death count, look around you. Use the different tricks and tips that we've talked about. Right? If you want to generate a fantasy name, look around you and draw inspiration from that. Yep. So this is our College of Lore, and she has a it's not a dump stat by any means, but charisma is not her big thing. Right? And so as we go and give her spells, oh, she gets a College of Lore too. I forgot about that one. So this one would probably be... She probably picked up Vicious Mockery in the College of Lore as a way to, you know, be able to survive if necessary. Probably then... Minor Illusion. Now she's probably going to have something like Charm Person. Disguise Self, just in case. Let's give her Healing Word. So she can do it from a distance if necessary. So she doesn't have to come into contact with people who don't want to have contact with her. And if she needs to lighten the mood, she gets Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And let's also give her Detect Magic. For level 2, Calm Emotions. And... Silence. That's a good one. That's a... Silence can be a very powerful spell. I'm going to call her Oxica Leadtongue. Technotron says, just use names in chat like Bunchgrim of the Deep Mist. Oh, right, because you're combining elements, Technotron? Yep. And Torchic had a good method that she was talking about last night also. And I'll claim it as a house rule if anyone has issues with my non-lethal method, says Dark Wolf. Yeah, and that's true, Dark Wolf. You know, so the last one could have been that. Or the archer said, I'm going to, like, I don't know, take the arrowhead off and just hit him with a blunt arrow, something like that. Bubonic One says, by the way, I have the perfect saying for this character. I love sarcasm. It's like a punch in the face, but with words. That's right off your new t-shirt. No feats on her just yet. She took the stat bump, Technotron. The stat bump actually brought her from a 12 to a 14 in charisma. And you know what? If a lot of these are dependent on hitting, like, Tasha's Hideous Laughter might have a save, we can also reapply this because the theme or the concept is, as a bard, you have a lot of spells that just have an effect. You know, you don't have to hit with a spell or have to force a save. Some of them just do something. And so she's probably going to focus a lot more on those spells instead. I just went off the top of my head what sounded appropriate for the character. And as we can go back, right, there's no ink we're using. We can always just readjust things as needed. Coffee Cat Comics likes that line, Bubonic. So aside from, a little bit of tweaking here, we have an orc, like a straight up orc out of Volos here. We have an orc bard, College of Lore. Who is an acolyte, by the way, so she's probably in the choir. If not the organist, or whatever the equivalent is. The drummer, maybe, if it's like a gladiatorial thing. It could have also been described as an environmental effect, like severing the rope, securing some barrels, or something like that, says Dorgrim. Yeah, it doesn't even... So it doesn't even have to hit the person. It could have just done something like... if it would have hit, then the person with the bow and arrow saw a loose rock above the enemy's head, quickly aimed up for it instead, knocked the rock loose, and bonk, and it knocked the person out. Hey, Super Colliders. Hey, now you're here early. Lurk. Exclamation point, lurk. Bubonic says she has a forceful personality, so charisma doesn't have to be that she's personable. She's just scary as heck. Well, she can impose herself for sure. Technotron, my mother and her mother was big in the Choppa. Our garer is big smachagar. So this is the Orcish translation. Dorgrim says exactly. My players freak out when I get all fluffy like that. They're so used to only the weapon hit actually does anything. Oh, yeah. And depending on the history of the players, that's what you expect, right? Well, I swing with my sword. So do I hit with my sword? Maybe. We can even say something like, this is a good way to raise up like attention and expectation or whatnot at the table as a DM. Someone rolls a, I don't know, we'll even just say a critical hit, right? They roll a 20, and you as the DM look at them in the eye and you say, you swing your sword and your enemy raises his and completely blocks it. And then your players are like they're waiting for more. And that's when you notice that there was, that there was an opening. You quickly take your knee to the solar plexus of the, of the attacker, and you knock the wind out of him with your critical blow. Being so thoroughly distracted as he was. And did you attack with your knee? No, you attacked with your sword, but your sword enabled this other thing to happen. And it can make the combat come a little bit more alive or keep the tension at the table, depending on how you decide to narrate that. Oh, Tin Cat's eating brisket. All right, party at Tin Cat's house. Ah, Puma. or I don't know how you'd like me to pronounce it, Puma Cow. How does one play this? Well, to answer your question succinctly, you and a group of friends or family get together and you tell a story with your characters. And if at the end of the night everyone had fun and you told a story, and maybe as a cliffhanger and you're going to play again next week or tomorrow or whatever, then you've won that session of D&D effectively. Dungeons and Dragons is a storytelling game. It's a role-playing game. It's a way for you to have fun, try exploring new aspects of life that you haven't before, and to go on that big adventure instead of just reading comic book characters or watching movies about adventure. You can finally be that hero that you've read about or seen. Hopefully that answers your question, Puma. And I especially thank you if you don't know how to play D&D and you still stopped in this channel and asked that question. That is the first step. It may sound silly, but for a lot of people, that's a big, scary step that they're not willing to take. I don't know if I want to go in that game store. There's a bunch of people who play. I don't know how. Are they going to make fun of me? Are they going to look at me and judge me silently or not silently? So I applaud you taking the step over that threshold, Puma. Thank you for the follow also. You took that bravery test, as Bob Ross calls it. And you stepped up and you said, how do I play? I'm interested. Dorgrim says, it's let's pretend with dice to resolve conflicts. You know what? That's an even shorter abbreviation or abbreviated way of describing D&D than myself, Dorgrim. Good advice. So now there's different ways you can approach it. You can run horror-themed games. You can run comedy games. You can run science fiction, even though it's primarily a fantasy setting. You can run serious games, like historical, right? No magic, no dragons. You can run a serious no fantasy or low fantasy game, or you can have the wildest. Everyone lives on floating islands, and they're in ships that are powered by elementals that fuel their chases and races across the sky, and people have magical weapons, and every fantasy race exists. Or you can say only humans. We're going with historical Western European fantasy setting and go from there. So it's very adaptable. Play the game how you wish to play it. The rule book is there to give you a set of standards. Even so, there are also suggestions and guidelines. Can one be a villain? Yes. If you wish, you can play a villainous character. Though playing an evil character might take a little bit more. It actually might take a little bit more thought than playing a good character, since we're so used to I try and be good in real life. So how do you play an evil character, especially if you have to rely on the talents of other characters in your party who are either evil or good themselves? In fact, Puma, there are two different roles, R-O-L-E. There are two different roles in Dungeons and Dragons. You can be a PC or a player character, meaning you sit down with a character sheet like this. You're piloting the character Oxica Leadtongue, who is a bard and sings inspirational songs and empowers her friends and weakens her enemies, all while using her longsword and swinging it in combat. Or, if you don't want to play a player character, you can act as the DM or the dungeon master. In other words, you are the computer running the game. You are everyone else in the world. You're what are called NPCs, or non-player characters. You're the monsters that your players have to fight against. You're the traps that they have to avoid. You are the description of the beautiful day that they are walking on the old dirt road under, or the spooky wind that blows through the haunted woods. So in that case, usually the DMs play the villains of the campaign or the overarching story. But you have an option. Those are the two traditional roles in Dungeons and Dragons: to be a PC or a DM, a player character or a dungeon master. So Torchic may have presented two different concepts that probably will come up over the course of playing. And Bubonic and Tin Cat, it's brisket, but I had it over at Arby's a little while ago, and their brisket is pretty good too. But you know what? If Tin Cat is making homemade brisket, oh, and hopefully some of your Texas location rubbed off on you, Tin Cat, when you were researching how to smoke that brisket. Yep, you may very well lose a lot, Technotron, as Technotron said. So Puma, if you play a character and you want to go in the old cave and you want to explore it, your dungeon master might have like 3 goblins pop out, and you say, "Oh, goblins are just little monsters. I can take it." And suddenly, with the roll of the die, it's a critical hit, and you take damage and you die. Well, that can happen. The measure of the game is, did you have fun, even if you died? Did it make you think? Did it make you feel? Did it make you excited? If that happened, if you laughed or cried or said, "Ah," then you won D&D. Whether your character died or not is not as important as you as the player. The feelings you take away from the game. It is all super fun, Coffee Cat. Rytel says, important thing to remember is that you are playing the PC's enemies, but you are not the player's enemy. That is correct. If you run the game, try not to make it me versus you in some death combat. Bloody Torchic says, Puma, it's literally the best. It's a feeling that's very difficult to replicate. Death Count never had brisket, so don't know what I'm missing. Well, Death Count, go. If you're nearby an Arby's and you have a couple bucks to spare, try their brisket. Will it be the same as a homemade brisket, like what Coffee Cat or Tin Cat or someone is talking about? Or, I'll tell you what, Death Count, if you're in the Sandusky area as well, if you go down to Jackson Street Pier, there's a place called the Smokin' Heifer Barbecue. They're actually a couple who I think are from Texas. And every morning, they smoke pounds and pounds of pork and beef and brisket and everything else. And I think they sell out of all of their meat like every day by like 2 p.m. It's amazing. So if you can get down to the Jackson Street Pier in Sandusky sometime in the lunch hour, like a traditional lunch hour, you can have a really good, effectively homemade Texas smoked brisket. Torchic, my uncle usually does smoked brisket, but it's just getting to peak crawfish season, so he's got the boiler out. He's not even running. Do you all live by a river or a stream then? Does he catch them himself also, or does he... And I'm not saying this in a bad way, or does he just go to the seafood section of the grocery store and purchase the crawfish to boil? Bubonic one, it's a decent cut of beef. Had a steak, then you're eating almost the same piece of meat. So, Apumatic, or Apumati. Again, I don't know how you want me to pronounce your name. Apumati cow, Apumatic owl, Puma, if that works as well. You got a very good example from several people here about what role playing is, and specifically Dungeons and Dragons. I hope that this excites you and that you're on board with it. If we can answer any questions you have, please ask them. Because it's not just me who will give you an answer. You're going to get a lot of wisdom right over here from these other people. No, you get them from a fishery in one of the local towns. He's like a champion smoker, though. I'd rather have the brisket. Oh, gotcha. Yep, you are welcome here, Puma. Have a seat. You're at a table in a game store with a bunch of other role players. Now, I'll tell you what, Puma. What we've done is we've made a character, and so in this part of the show, we were pretending to be player characters, PCs. What we'll do next is we're going to pretend to be dungeon masters, and we're going to create an environment for our players to play in. And so fortunately for you, not only are you going to get the player character experience, but you're going to get the DM experience also tonight. And then once I finish the map, which it might take only an hour or so, and we'll talk a little bit about his DMs and how to plan a world and how to make a world for your players. Everything opens up, and we can talk more about anything you want. Heck, last night we talked about Marvel and DC. We talked about time travel and parallel universes or multiverses, extra-dimensional spaces, and a lot of other things. It was a really good conversation last night. Coffee Cat needs brisket. Well, again, you know, if you go out to Arby's, is it going to be the same as homemade? No. Arby's does have some kind of a barbecue brisket going on right now. I think it's like a bourbon barbecue. Death Count, forgot who I am, but that's good. Haven't played the Wednesday COS game since last month. You work at the mall, might grab one Arby's. Oh, yeah, you did mention that you were sick. Dr. Freakface, good to see you, and thank you for the barbecue tip as well. See, look, and you know what, Puma, what you're reading over here, talking about brisket and barbecue and cooking and all this, this is also D&D. When you're sitting down at a table with your friends, you know, a lot of times we have what's called table talk, and it's just conversation amongst each other. You know, we're still here at the game, and we'll still roll dice and participate. But this is still a part of D&D. In fact, many players will eat dinner or lunch, or they'll have some kind of a meal together before they play. And it's a great time to just talk or review what happened in the last game to get you ready for this game. So all of this that you're experiencing, this is Dungeons & Dragons. It just may not exist officially over here in the Player's Handbook. So, Death Count, I do hope you feel better. Dorgrim says, the one thing I would add is to be sure that your DM and the other players are okay with you playing a villain. Yes, if you do want to play a villainous character, that's true. Make sure that you talk about that. You don't really want your character actions to ruin the fun for others. It's meant to be a cooperation game at its heart. Technotron, no. Mom, I punched a flump, then it laughed at me. No, you shouldn't punch a flump. You must trust a flump. Always trust a flump. Dr. Freakface, thank you for welcoming me back. You're, well, good sir, good Dr. Freakface. Welcome back. Tri-C says we frequently have pizza at my games. Yep. Pizza, Thai food, maybe you make homemade food. Right? If you have, if you either make a barbecue for your friends who are coming over, or let's say that you have a significant other who is supportive of your gaming hobby. Maybe he or she is also willing to make a dinner, and you all just throw $5 in a hat. You know, you give the money to your host, say, hey, thanks for the homemade food. Let's eat and talk, and then we'll roll some dice afterwards. Bubonic says, when I started playing 30 years ago, Chips and Jolt were must-haves, right, for those all-night sessions? Oh, yeah. Death Count says, it's also a great way to make new friends. Like me, I'm not from around here. You're originally from Cincinnati, so I got to meet new people. That is, yes. You'll meet people that you never thought you would meet otherwise. It's amazing for being so social. Dorgrim has to redo, yeah. So, you know, sometimes too, you know, Dorgrim, I don't know if it's something, you know, we all have different diets or requirements. But if you go to the grocery store and you get those, like those seaweed snacks, right? They're almost like potato chips, but they're seaweed. Those are, I I mean, I don't know if they're healthy, but they're not bad for you either. And those can oftentimes hit the spot without you having to worry about sugar or salt or cholesterol or whatever else. Because look, nothing's good for you anymore, right? Dairy, nope, you shouldn't have dairy. You shouldn't have salt, no sugar, no carbohydrates, no fat, no... Wait, what's left? Torchic, I normally put a casserole in the oven before I start cleaning up the gaming area, so there's always something good. Oh, bless your heart, Torchic. And I don't mean that in that, bless your heart, kind of like, ugh. No, seriously, Torchic, that's cool of you. If you're making some homemade food for you and your gaming guests, oh, wonderful. Game Master's Vault says, ew. Are you saying ew to the casserole, to brisket? What are you talking about? Or to the seaweed? Water, air, those aren't good either. Only if you drink certain water and you breathe certain air. So yes, even water and air is bad for you right now. Technotron, I cook a lot, and the best thing is to me salt-baked prime rib and candied bacon. Oh, right, the Homer Simpson gurgle, right? Oh, I don't think I have enough saliva for that, but fill in your brain Homer Simpson's delicious gurgling sound. Oh, you can still find Jolt around Bubonic One? Yes, to talk about memories, right? Bloody Torchic loves to cook. Oh, the seaweed. Oh, you don't like it? GM Vault. Okay. Well, hey, we all have different tastes. Death Count says, Torchic, I'm coming over to your game now. Hey, well, I mean, you just gotta get your passport, Death Count, right? Because, yeah, wait, Torchic, you were, Torchic, you're over in the England, aren't you? Or am I mixing up people? Do I have a crossed wire? I try my best to try and remember parts from as many of you as possible. Oh, you're in Texas. Well, then who was I thinking about that was over in the UK? Oh, because we have a couple people who are out that way. Well, shoot. Oh, you've never said before? Maybe it was someone on the same night that that you joined us, that we're having conversation. So, well, anyway, yay, Torchic, welcome. So yeah, I guess we do not need a passport to go visit Torchic, do we, Death Count? Oh, you have one? You were to Paris for a month? Yeah, I have mine around. Actually, is it still on my desk here? No, that's another important book, but that's not my passport. It might be somewhere. We're making Dark Wolf hungry again. Likes to be Texas barbecue, but dry rub BBG isn't as good as wet BBG for me. Chewy, yo, good to see you back. Tin Cat says, if I ever get an IRL D&D game, I'm going to be making homemade cookies from scratch. Oh my gosh, Tin Cat. Your stock is rising. Dry rub with wet dip always. Filthy Jester, yo! A woo, even to any of you in the Awoo allegiance here. Oh man, so you wouldn't know this, Chewy and Filthy. But we're not even. We're still talking D&D, but we're talking food and down in Texas and making smoked brisket and snacks at the table. Torchic makes casserole before her games. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I have my Onion Dome hat. Bink. There we go. So, it gives me the +1 to my Russian accent. It's not the best accent I have ever, but there is something perhaps a little more pure by having Onion Dome on the head. Chewy's done nachos at games. Puma says, I want to try and participate in a game, but I don't know where to start. Like, does it have to be IRL or can it be over Discord? Okay, so, yep, if you all can help Puma guide him or herself in the right direction, I'm going to get up, speaking of snacks and whatnot, I'm going to go refill my SodaStream bottle. I'm going to get a drink and freshen up, and when we come back, we'll talk about food, we'll make a map, we'll talk about D&D. We can still help Puma here learn about our hobby and arguably our lifestyle, and continue on. So give me like 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Thank you all. BRB BBQ. Okay, I have returned. Hello, hello. Thank you for waiting. Heck, I almost finished my soda while I was up and around. I was catching up on chat, see what I was missing. As well, I was reading what we have going in our what we have going on in our Discord. There we go. I can speak. Me am smart. SMRT. Alright, we're going to leave the Slaughtered Ox Tavern and go to a mountain pass in order to discuss our map. Yes, Chewy, I will be up. I was in some other windows here. I have to switch back to having my webcam on. And I'll be doing that in just a second. Hello, I'm back. I have returned. I'm in my nice classic X-Men shirt as well. Pardon me. I have the magic disappearing liquid. Ooh, ooh. What? Perugia? Perugia is here? Peru, welcome back. It's been a while, man. I hope you've been well. I'm sure we got a dagger around here somewhere for you. Man, how long have you been lurking in chat? Well, let me see. Also, thank you for the share over to Discord, and for Jester, and for Apomatic Ow to join us. Bloody Torchic says, if you want to set up in person, I would grab the starter set. Yeah, the starter set is very good. $25, you get a set of dice, rules, and an adventure. Oh, it's great. A Raylock or a Lock Sorcerer. Yeah, oh, Chewy, you can do so much with Warlock and the Eldritch Blast you get. You could do a lot to modify that spell, and then get the spell sniper feat on top of it. Oh, there it is. Actually, Coffee Cat says, "Yeah, you got it, Coffee." Tome Lock Sorcerer can have a lot of good cantrips there, Chewy. Delcorin is shouting out raspberry bratwurst. That does sound really good, actually, Delcorin. And welcome to you. And it looks like not too long after Delcorin shouts out raspberry bratwurst, that must have been the verbal component to summoning Perugia back to our community. Technotron, a good story would be a barbecue nut finds out about a dinosaur in the Tomb of Annihilation. Ends up putting on one of the feared hunts and epic feasts known far and wide. Even the gods have been seen. Wouldn't that be something, right? Yeah, that's like an optional side quest. You actually have to like hunt down and capture, one of the dinosaurs in Tomb of Annihilation, and then barbecue. So really, actually, what this has become, Technotron, is Monster Hunter. So Peru comes back, and I gotta catch up. Divine Sorcerer not long ago, having bonus action heal cantrip. Oh, yeah. The story can suffer if you're trying to go for a super optimized, because you're threading a needle with your character, and then suddenly, every game is different. I won't say, one way or the other here. King Von Alle flips the table after losing 100 experience from the Wandering Monster. Well, now you have a raft if you're still in the River King. How do any of you afford this hobby when a simple set of crocodile jawbone dice costs $300 US? Pardon. Hello, I've been in the Rust Fields. It's been a dark and painful time. It was wonderful. Well, Peru, welcome back from the Rust Fields. It's good to have you back, brother. Delcor, and that's me, Summoner. Yeah, so you just say Raspberry Bratwurst. Unless that's Perugia's true name, and because you spoke his true name of Raspberry Bratwurst, then that is actually what summoned him here. Hey, Ivalon. Oh, Ivalon needs some hugs. Oh, hey, come on. Come on in. Bring it in. There we go. There we go. That's not bad, Chewy. You could even have the patron... Right, here, let's take a step back.